Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, JA, and I am joined by the very, very handsome Richard Garraway. How are you, mate?
Thanks, buddy. I'll take that.
Just before we get into the wild week of football, I want to just give a quiet shout out to our friends at Burnley Brewing. I went and got a pickup today. Went into Richmond and picked up some beer. We've got some how cool. We were just discussing how cool their cans are. They are the coolest cans. But yeah, so I'm having the draft at the moment, which is my favorite. I got a couple of different ones, but they're not cold yet. But I got them especially for you, Richie.
Now, to the good people of Burnley Brewing, who we love, this is a barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout. Now, when you put all those words together, you expect it to be thick, heavy, boozy, just a real kick it in the balls type of beer.
Yep.
Bravo, Burnley Brewing, because this thing delivers. This is so heavy. It's so good. I only put it in the fridge when you dropped it off at my house. So it's not icy cold yet, and it should be. But like, it's a 9.8%. It's big, so it is big. To the guys, this is a really good beer. You're not going to sit and have a session on these, otherwise, your next day is probably going to suck. But to sit back and enjoy one of these, bravo.
Yep. Excellent work, Burnley Brewing, as always, thoroughly. She said, how much beer are you drinking at the moment? A lot.
More than I should.
Gave me a couple of extra boxes. Just let this shit get you through. I was really pleased. I was caught up with Chloe, who's our rep down there, and a good friend of mine. And she was very positive about how they're going, which actually made me feel really good that they're getting through the COVID quite well, and said that the government actually been helping them out a lot, it was actually really refreshing to hear someone be positive about the government and how they're supporting them for once. Said if you know what you're doing and do the right thing, they've actually been really helpful. So they're doing really well, and that's great. But if you are in the area, 648 Bridge Road in Richmond, if you're within 5 kilometres, get in there, buy some beer, get some takeaway food. They had lasagna, $15 takeaway lasagna. It was 9 a.m, but I was this close. Well, see, old JA would have done it. Old JA would have done it for sure.
That's way better value than Uber Eats. Like
100%.
I feel for every restaurant who has to jack their prices up to cover Uber Eats' cut. Yeah, because it's gross. So wherever possible, if your favorite restaurant is within 5Ks, go and get it.
Yep.
Go and get it. Don't cost your locals money. Like, help them out. Go get it yourself. Don't pay that lazy tax.
Couldn't agree more. And our other sponsor, Breaking Oz Memorabilia, the studio sponsor, not just the NFL sponsor, the whole studio, Richie. They're the big deal. There is a helmet on the way, and we will be doing our first break on Breaking Oz Memorabilia for the Vault. So make sure you join that group. And I'll give you a hint. If you're a Ravens fan and you're interested in former Baltimore Ravens who won Defensive Player of the Year, you might want to get into this break. Now, obviously, I'm going to tell you what the helmet is when we do it, but I just want to see it first to make sure I've got it exactly right, because, sometimes people get confused. But if you're a Ravens fan, go to Facebook, join Breaking Oz Memorabilia. All the links are in the description for those groups. Also, Burnley Brewing's descriptions. Get in there, give them all a follow, join the group, and get around our sponsors. And thank you very much to them. We appreciate you very much, guys. So thanks a lot. Without further ado, though, Rich, we've got a loaded show. We've obviously got our little quarter season review and our mulligans again tonight, which I'm really excited for. Going back and looking at what I picked, I'm actually not that disappointed in what I picked. I'm okay. I feel like I'm okay.
I'm in pretty good shape too.
But let's start with the big news today, and that was I still can't believe we live in a world where Adam Gase wasn't the first coach fired, because Bill O'Brien has been removed from his job as coach of and GM of the Houston Texans after an 0-4 start. Their season's pretty much in the toilet. But I think we had a bit of a chat about this today, Rich. I think we know when he painted himself into a corner in the preseason by making all those moves, trading away who still looks like one of the best receivers in the NFL in John Hopkins for a can of Coke and David Johnson. It's a horrible move, especially with the value of draft picks now over the next couple of years. They got really nothing for him. David Johnson's been okay in that offense, but that offense has really struggled. Their receiving core has struggled, and they're 0-4. Now, they've had a tough schedule, but, they knew that going into that trade. They knew what they got into. I think he painted himself into a corner and he couldn't get out of it, and this was always going to happen when he made those decisions.
I think the biggest problem is arguably their best two players in Hopkins and Clowney left the organization with nothing in return. Yet he gave up first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills. Well, the problem is you can give up picks to bring in talent, but if you're losing your talent and getting nothing back for it.
So you give 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil and you get a second for DeAndre Hopkins. It just doesn't. I'd prefer DeAndre Hopkins over Laramie Tunsil. And everyone knows I love O-line. I love O-line, and Laramie Tunsil's a very good left tackle. Yep. But DeAndre Hopkins is going to be like one of the next decade. He's going to be like those top 5 guys in the league, like Julio Jones, those sorts of players. He's going to be that for the next 10 years. So why wouldn't you want to keep that in your building? And Clowney, we've seen him come and go. He's doing all right at the Titans this year. I don't know about that move, but again, they got no value for him. They just get rid of talent for nothing. Very similar to what the Jags do, but at least the Jags got 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey.
That's the whole thing about it. Is if you've got a discontent or a malcontent, or even Adams, as we saw earlier in the year, at least they got a starter back in return and a draft pick. You got to get something back, and in both these trades, okay, Laramie Tunsil, is he worth 2? I don't know. I mean, they threw in Kenny Stills, but either way, whether he is or isn't, who the hell wants that job now? You don't have first-round picks for the next 2 years. What the hell are you going to do? How are you going to rebuild this organization?
You don't have first-round picks, and you have no talent.
Well, I'm not going to say no because you
have very limited. Like JJ Watts, I watched the Houston game. He's not
forget what he's done. He could be a situational pass rusher. That's the rest of his career, which is sad. But anyway, that's the truth. You have. I'm not going to say a generational quarterback because there's some pretty good ones right now. But you have a top 10 NFL quarterback on your roster.
Yep.
You have to get stuff around him fast, however you do it. If you say, okay, let's just go and get the best 5-0 lineman, overpay for all of them, bring him in. So at least stops getting the shit kicked out of him, and we'll go from there. Whatever it is, whatever the plan is, you're going to have to make it stick, and you're going to have to be creative because you don't have the normal collateral to go and make these things happen. The future's already been mortgaged. The mortgage was called in, and now you can't fuck.
They paid Watson, didn't they? I'm certain they paid Watson.
If they haven't, they're going to. I mean,
they did reach another. Yeah, he got paid just before week 2. That's right. I remember 156 million.
So you got him locked up. So you've got the quarterback problem solved. That's usually the hardest thing. So you've got that in. Now you got to protect him. You got to protect him first, getting weapons second. Because as we've seen, look at Aaron Rodgers today. He's missing some of his best skill guys. So he just threw 3 touchdowns to some tight end no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
So elite quarterback talent can be the difference. Yep. So got to protect him. You have got to protect him. And whoever takes this over, I hope they're creative.
I've got no picks now to do things. That's
what I'm saying. So you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to go get the best free agents. You're going to have to overpay for that stuff. Tunsil's a good start. You can start there.
Yeah, if I had an athletic quarterback right now, I'd go and get Josh McDaniels after seeing what the Patriots were like today and what he's done with Cam Newton. I'd go and get him and go, hey, I got an athletic guy, build an offense like he did with Cam Newton. Because it worked, and they looked awful today on offense. So it's I think Bill O'Brien, though, we could see this coming. Everyone knew this was coming. You can't make those moves. Everyone knew when he made those moves, if it didn't work, unless David Johnson was the second coming of Jesus this season, it was not going to pay off, and he was going to lose his job because he hedged his bets to it, and it was a terrible move. We all knew. Why did everyone know it but him? It blows my mind that guys like that get paid to do that job, and everybody in the human world, actually the aliens upstairs knew it too. Everyone knew but him.
It must have been so toxic. their relationship. It must have been so toxic.
Neither of them have said that. That's the thing. So good on them if that was the case, for neither of them like slandering. And Hopkins actually put out a thing today, a tweet today about him saying,
I think he's a classy dude.
Yeah, I think they both. And I think Bill O'Brien's very well liked. And I think he'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere next year. I have no doubt about it. He'll find somewhere because he ran a good offense for a long time. And I don't think
there's going to be head coaching positions available. And
I don't know.
I'd give him I just don't make him the bloody GM.
Yeah.
Let's think about look at his success. How many times he won the South? Yeah. Now, he struggled to win playoff games, but he put his team in position to play in the playoffs. And he did it a lot in an organization.
They weren't necessarily that talented all the time.
No, and it wasn't an organization that comes from a tradition of winning. It wasn't like taking over Pittsburgh or taking over Green Bay. So he took, let's face it, they were a basket case for their first handful of years with Carr and all the rest of it. So he took them to the playoffs and won the division regularly.
Yep.
So I think he's a good coach. I really think he's a quality person, and I think we saw that in the Hard Knocks and things like that. So I think he's going to get a second chance somewhere because there are going to be jobs open. There always are.
100%.
If he wants one, just don't make him the GM. Just get him a good personnel guy. They're everywhere. Just go and get one.
Better than Adam Gase. I still can't believe Adam Gase didn't get fired before anyone else in this league. It blows my mind. But that's a story for hopefully a very soon another day. Let's move on to COVID strikes. So literally after last week, we said how well the NFL have done, which they have done well.
We jinxed them.
The Pittsburgh-Tennessee game gets postponed because 5 Tennessee players got COVID, got the Rona, as we like to call it. And then Cam Newton got Corona. The game got moved till today from Sunday, so only a one-day movement because no one else was able to get it. He got it because he's traveling back and forth from his family. But I walked away from this. Everyone's going, oh, it's definitely going to spread. It's definitely going to spread. I thought the NFL handled this fantastic. There was a fullback at the Saints that got a false negative. They cleared the building until they knew if he had it or not. Then when he didn't have it, they said, okay, we're good. You can play that game. No one's got it. You've all tested. You're all negative. So no one's got it. Go ahead. The Pittsburgh-Tennessee game, now there's no one in Tennessee that's had it. So 7 days later, no one's had it still for 3 days straight. So that game that'll just be put into their bye weeks. And then, Newton didn't play today, which sucked for the New England. And I get it, New England fans. It's terrible. And you're not going to be the first team that's affected by it. I guarantee it.
Or
the last. I think be thankful that it was against the Chiefs because let's be honest, with Cam Newton, you were probably going to have
lost anyway.
So it's not the worst game to miss him. I know you might have beat him the way your defense played today, but it's probably not the worst one to miss him for and get him back next week when you can win a game. But I thought the NFL handled it great. But I guess the question is, do you think that if we get this again, could it get away from them? Could all of a sudden could they miss something and it spread to 2 teams, and then before they realize it goes to 3 teams, and then before we know it, half the league's got it? I just think with their procedures in place, it's not going to happen. I think they've got a really good system going.
They're certainly the most stringent testers out of all the major sports, the policies, procedures they put in place, to where you're basically being tested every day, every other day.
3 times a day they get tested. They get tested when they get there, when they leave, and when they come back again.
Yeah, so there's...
Every time you enter or leave the building, you're tested nonstop.
So I think they're going to get on them relatively early. This certainly isn't the last. Unfortunately, it's rampant in the USA. Their lockdowns in some states are just non-existent. New York wants to re-lock down again to try and ease a second wave there. So I think we've seen what it can do. And in our own town, JA, we've certainly experienced how fast it can get out of control. Could it happen? Absolutely it could. Could it cause more issues? Yeah, it really could. But I think the NFL are doing a good enough job that I must admit, when it started coming in, this person's positive now, this, like those 3 days in a row, I was like, oh no, it's going to fall apart. But
then they
to their credit, it didn't seem to. So all we can do is hope that if anybody in the NFL was getting a bit lax in what they were doing, hopefully this is the kick up the backside that keeps
and they're
it clean.
stopping coaches. Like they fined 3 coaches last week. Derek Carr and Darren Waller got fined today. I don't even know what it was for, but they got fined for breaking protocol during the game. So they're all over everyone in terms of you do the and I guarantee you, if they get if those coaches like Sean Payton, I think it was Sean Payton, Bill O'Brien, or he can't get suspended now.
John Gruden got fined.
Gruden, like if they get caught again, I guarantee you the NFL will suspend them.
Suspend them.
You know what? You are gone for a game now. That's it. And if you do it again, it's 5 games, and again you're done. Year over. Like I guarantee you they will because they need to. So I'm impressed with the NFL on the way they've handled it. I know we've said it every week, and we were messaging each other the next morning after the podcast last week, going, "Oh, here we go. We've gone and
I said we jinxed it."
I know, but then they just nipped in the bud straight away. I'm impressed so far. So I said, everyone, you just need to be positive about it and have faith. And trust me, I know it sucked today for the Patriots. And if it was the Cowboys and we lost Prescott for a game, I'd be just as annoyed. Like, it sucks. But just take this season with a grain of salt, because you know what? Would you prefer to have Cam Newton miss a game or have 0 football? I don't know about you, Rich, but right now I need football in my life because I literally can't leave my house. So
yeah, me too. And look,
you get the bigger picture.
And if your fantasy team got nailed, I mean, mine did.
Mine didn't.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
It'll happen.
But you know, if you, especially like, we don't play for money, we play for teasing the person who finished last. Yeah. So
DJ,
if you're in a league with a lot of money, I mean, come on, guys, it was a COVID year. It's on yourself. Like, you got to chill out, roll with the punches, pick up some random third string receiver from New Orleans, leave him on your bench, have him score 17 for you, and get smashed by Doyle. So that's what happened to me.
Speaking of getting smashed, just a quick one. Did you see the Golden Tate and Jalen Ramsey dust up?
I haven't seen it.
So I can't find any footage of like what happened after the game. I can't find it. But did you? I talk about. Did you see the play in the game where they ran the little flare screen out to Golden Tate? Jalen, if you haven't seen this play, guys, look it up. Jalen Ramsey, the corner, comes flying down, crushes the poor wide receiver that tried to block him. I feel for you, man, because he just railed you like you were an 8-year-old, and then doesn't just tackle Golden Tate, like the perfect spear, arms around the waist, lifts his legs off the ground and just spear tackles him into the dirt on his back, and then told him about it. And it was, I remember seeing that live and thinking, God, that was a nice tackle, not realizing the beef. And then after the game, there's beef at midfield, and I assumed it was just because of the tackle during the game. And there was, Jalen Ramsey likes to talk a lot of shit, but to his credit, he does back it up 99.9% of the time, so it's hard to bag him. But what it had to do with is that Ramsey has 2 children with Golden Tate's sister, and the relationship, I'm purely reading this, the relationship suspiciously ended during the second pregnancy. You can read into that how you want. Maybe he just didn't like her, but something, let's be honest, something went on.
I can tell you what went on. Like, this is public knowledge. You don't have to look very up.
Oh, really?
Apparently he had like an affair with a stripper or something. Like, it was poor form, to say the least.
This is why young NFL players are stupid. Don't get pregnant. Like, if you want to have that lifestyle, you're a young, obviously extremely attractive and well put together and fit guy and rich. If you want to have that lifestyle, do what JJ Watt used to do. Just be like, no, I'm not settling down. And then when he wanted to, he did. Like, wait a few years. Don't get locked down with girls when you're 18 in college. Like, get out of that. But that said, it's his own fault. He had the 2 kids. But anyway, long story short, they had a big beef. Jalen Ramsey, Golden Tate, they had to like console Jalen Ramsey on the field because he was trying to and go back and initiate the fight. So they kept him out on the field for a while. Golden Tate waited outside the LA locker rooms for Ramsey to leave. They obviously didn't let Ramsey leave and walk into him again. But just wild scenes. Like, with all due respect, though, like, just both of you grow up a little bit. I know that's rich coming from me, Richie, but far out. Like, waiting at someone's locker after a game. Like, if you get a beef during the game, just get over it. And you know what, Golden Tate? It's your sister's problem.
It wasn't a beef after the game. Like, this has been going for a while.
Yeah.
So there was
leave it off.
They were drawing at each other the last time they met. So this isn't new.
And there was talk at midfield before the game too. But they were separated them.
This should have been expected. And quite frankly, in that brawl, plenty of other players got caught up in it and starting to throw down as well. So look, quite frankly, I think they needed to let Jalen out of the locker room. Everyone stand back and let him have it out. Someone's going to win, and someone was going to lose. And then that would have been the end of it because Ramsey or Tate would have kicked the living crap out of the other one and it would be done because one could say, we had this out. I kicked the shit out of you. It's over.
It's over.
But now it doesn't. Now it's going to
continue
boil.
Yeah, though it'll feel unfinished. 1v1, who are you taking?
Ramsey's a mental case, man.
Yeah,
I'm taking Ramsey. He's
any
crazy.
Any day of the week, and he's huge.
Yeah.
Like, I think Jalen Ramsey is like 6'3". Like I'm 6'3". Like I play offensive line in our league. He's 6'3". He's not small. Like he's a big dude. I'd take Ramsey any day of the week.
Ramsey's crazy. I wouldn't look sideways at him.
Man, he's a good player though. He's really playing well this year.
He is. Like in Hard Knocks, I remember in that first couple of episodes, I'm like, gee, Ramsey just talks a big game. And then I'm like, that's right. He's really good.
so he's 192 kilos. That's not a small human being. Like to play corner, the way he plays corner, that is not small. Yeah, I'm taking Ramsey any day of the week, 1v1. Do you know what? Ramsey, Golden or Tate, whatever you want to be called. I feel weird calling someone Golden. I'm sorry. But if you ever want the Vault Studio to set up the fight, you let us know. We'll promote it. We'll do everything. Ramsey v Tate. We'll set it up, fly down to Australia. I'll set up a ring in the backyard. I won't build it. I'll get someone who's qualified to build that sort of stuff. And you can go at it. With all our mates around, you just go at it for a couple of hours, however long you want, till someone gets exexhausted. We'll do that.
One man standing. Two men go in, one man comes out.
I couldn't stop laughing though at the sheer like it's horrible whatever Jalen Ramsey. It's not very nice, but you know I have two sisters and I wouldn't be. I'd be like, well, you know, shit happens. Sorry, he probably should have handled it better, but he doesn't want to be with you. Sorry, like what do you want me to say here? I can't sugarcoat this. I think I'd be going and fighting for them. I'm like, God, like, especially if it's Jalen. Certainly wouldn't be going fighting Jalen Ramsey for him. I'd be like, yeah, no, he wins. Sorry, I'm not in. Anyway, that's it for the news. Condolences to Bill O'Brien. Hopefully you find yourself a job. You know what? Have a year off next year, Bill, and just enjoy your life. Get paid still. Be great. Let's get into the meat of the episode, Richie. We've got our quarter season review and our mulligan. So how this is going to work, we're going to go through each division, not spending a lot of time on them, just to see what we predicted, where we're at, and then we get to make one move. So from the teams we picked to make the playoffs, we get to put one team in and take one team out. That's simple as that. And the awards, you get to change one as well if you want to. You don't have to. You. But let's start. We'll start with the NFC. We'll go with the NFC North to start with. Start at the top of the compass. We've got the Green Bay Packers at 3-0. The Chicago Bears, or the Pretenders, as I like to call them, at 3-1. Minnesota at 1-3, escaping that 0-4 death sentence, and the Detroit Lions at 1-3. You took the Packers to win the division, not Minnesota to get in. I took the Packers to win the division. I had Minnesota as a wild card. I'll wait to the end to let you know what I'm doing with them, but just spoiler alert, they are out. I think Green Bay, after watching them, they're 4-0 after winning today and winning quite convincingly today. It hasn't updated yet. I think they're the team to beat in the NFC right now. Them in Seattle.
I actually think it's them. So, make of it what you will. Yep. I think Rodgers
better than Rodgers at the moment, but Rodgers has the potential to play like that any given week. Like,
I don't know. I just feel like the Packers are across the board just better right now. But if we look at the North in general, obviously the Packers coming out, but I had them at 9-7. I thought this division would be a lot more competitive than it is. I think they're going to go past the 9 wins that I predicted. I had the Vikings out on a tiebreaker, also 9-7. I'm glad I don't have them in the playoffs, so I don't have to mulligan that one. The Bears 3-1. I feel like they're going to come to an end.
They just got drummed by the Colts. They just held touchdownless with their new quarterback.
That Colts defense, we'll talk about it later.
It's legit.
Exceptional. That's a great group.
Very good.
I don't think there's any real surprises here except for the disappointment of the Vikings. I think the other
I didn't think that'd be that bad.
We pretty much had them as we expected.
With 7 teams though, they could you might only need 8 wins to get. You might need 7 wins to be the 7 seed. Like there's
in the
a real
NFC, the last wild card will be 8-8, and in the AFC, they might even have a losing record.
Like right now, Minnesota, they're only one game behind the 49ers and 1 game behind the Cardinals. They're 1 game behind the Saints. They're not like it's ridiculous, but they're not far.
They're 1 game out of a wild card spot.
100%. Let's go to the NFC South. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Richie, head of the pack, 3-1. The surprising Carolina Panthers at 2-2. The Saints at 2-2. And the Atlanta Falcons are 0-4. They should be 1-3, but they can't close. They should be 2-2, but they can't close. We both had the Buccaneers winning the division. Sorry, you had the Buccaneers winning the division and the Saints as the wild card. I had Saints winning the division, Buccaneers as the wild card. I think both the Saints and the Bucs make the division. Saints had a couple of, average. They had a couple of bad losses, but they've come good. Carolina have beaten some average teams. Their two wins have come against, I think, the Jags and maybe the Saints, maybe the Falcons. Sorry, so I don't think they've beaten anyone that good yet. So I think they'll kind of peter off a little bit. I think Tampa Bay
beat the Chargers and the Cardinals.
Oh, so the Cardinals is not a bad win because we'll talk about the Cardinals soon, but they're a team that I had in the playoffs and I still think can make the playoffs. But I'm all in on Bucs and Saints. I think both of them are going to be fighting it out for the division later. Tampa, their 1 loss is to the Saints, isn't it? Week 1.
Yeah.
So that's a big win. So when they play each other next, the Saints will really want that to catch up. But yeah, I think those who take the division, I think we've got that one pretty right at the moment. I'm certainly not looking to make any changes with the South.
No, I feel good about how I've got it too. Obviously, Atlanta, the uber disappointment, especially for an Atlanta fan. Not that I had them in, but they would have been expecting a hell of a lot more. If you look at Tampa, their next 4 games are Bears, Packers, Raiders, and Giants. They should really go 3-1 through that and be set up at a 6-2 after halfway through the year. And at that point, you're in. They do have the Chiefs on their schedule, but they've also got like the Vikings, the Lions. They've got 2 games against Atlanta still to come, and another one against the Panthers. So I think my Bucks are looking pretty good. That being said, the Saints, as much as Breeze is playing like a 40-plus-year-old, which he is, they're still missing their best receiver. So their defense is playing really well. I think they're really set up to run deep. Yeah,
and Alvin Kamara is one of the best running backs in the league right now.
He's the most multi-dimensional player in the league. He's
McCaffrey?
Not right now.
No, unfortunately, he's hurt. But yeah, the NFC West, and this was one that we both liked the teams coming out of. You had the Seahawks winning, the 49ers second, and the Cardinals as a wild card. I had the 49ers winning the division, and I had the Cardinals as a wild card. I had the 49ers. Did I say that right? 49ers winning, the Cardinals the wild card. I did not have Seattle in. I've made a big mistake. This is my NFC mulligan. I am bringing in the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm getting rid of the Minnesota Vikings. Seattle are 4-0. LA Rams have been kind of a surprise. I didn't think they'd be this good. But I'm just looking at who they played. They obviously beat the Cowboys, who, let's be honest, can't do anything on defense, and that was week 1. They then beat the Eagles, who are really struggling. They lost to Buffalo when they had that. They were getting pumped and then had that big come from behind.
Nearly got there.
Yeah, then lost it at the end. And they've beaten New York. So they've beaten 3 of the NFC East teams who are a dreadful division right now. I'm not putting a lot. I think they're good, and I want to see how it plays out. But I just think right now the 49ers have got massive injury concerns. I'd love to pull them out of the playoffs, but I just think the Vikings deserve to be out of there more. But San Fran, I'm really worried about them. Their injuries are just like they're crucifying how bad their injuries are. They've lost so many good players, so many starters. But I think Seattle will win that division definitely at 4-0. They look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Arizona, I think they'll turn it around. They had 2 really good games to start the season. I think they'll turn it around and get it right. And San Fran, I think they've, like you saw, they almost beat the Eagles with all those players missing. I think they'll still win enough games to be that 7 seed. I think the Rams will drop off. I'm not confident the Rams can make it from 3-1 because they just haven't played anyone that good. Other than the Bills,
Well,
they lost.
But the thing about the Rams, and this is where I'll sell you on it, they play the NFC East and the AFC East, two of the worst divisions in football. They've got a game against Washington still to come. They get to play the Bears, the Dolphins. They got the 49ers coming up twice, who the season could be over for them come the end. They got the Jets on their schedule. Now, they've still got all their division games. They haven't played a division game yet. But, I can very quickly... Yeah, but I can very quickly find just 6 more wins for them because their schedule this year is really weak. So all they've got to do is split their division games, and they've almost got 9 wins. This is going to be my mulligan.
All right, so who you got out?
Here's the thing. I got the Packers in. I'm good there. I got the Bucks and the Saints. I'm good there. Oh, you're stupid Cowboys. I still think I'm good there. And then the West, where I've got the Seahawks, 49ers, and Cardinals. I got to drop one out. I got to bring the Rams in.
Could be the Niners.
I actually think it is, and it's not because I don't think they have the talent. I just think they're too injured. I think this season already is a war of attrition of guys going down, and personally, I don't think they have a quarterback who can cover up all the holes. They don't have Aaron Rodgers who can cover holes. They don't have Mahomes who can cover holes. They got a guy who's okay, and he's been injured. So I think it's going to be too far for them. I'm going to take the 49ers out. I'm bringing the Rams in. Wow.
Big. It's pretty good. If I didn't have the Vikings in, I think that's what I'd be doing. I just think the Vikings are way less a chance of making it than the Niners.
You have to get them out of there. You got no choice.
Last division, the NFC East. This is just a dreadful division right now. You've got the Eagles leading it at 1-2-1. Cowboys are second at 1-3. Washington football team are 1-3, and the Giants are 0-4 and look dog shit. The Cowboys are the best team in this division offensively. Their offense is one of the best. Is the best offense in the NFL right now. Dak Prescott has not only broken the record for most yards over the first 4 games, he's smashed it. He's on track for 5,500 yards, which would break the record comfortably. I don't know what this guy's got to do, but the Dallas Cowboys defense is disgraceful. It is one of the worst things. Richie, you know me. I turned off the Cowboys game at halftime on Monday morning. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was that frustrating. I didn't even put it back on for the comeback because I knew the defense would stuff it up again. And what do? They let a reversed Odell Beckham go 55 yards with the game on the line. Like, get out.
He's still got some. I actually think he's got plenty of tread left on his tires. He's finally
the problem with Odell Beckham is his motivation.
And he was coached terribly last year.
He always wants to kill the Cowboys. He's killed the Cowboys over the years. Either way, I don't think the Eagles are very good. Carson Wentz is not a good player. Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in this division by not a little bit, by a mile. I cannot believe they haven't paid him yet. I can't believe they've invested all this money in Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott and not in Dak. They've just got to get this guy paid because the longer they leave this, the more and more and more and more it's going to climb. I still feel it's the Cowboys division. I feel they're the best team. If they can just get a little bit of it right on defense, maybe get a couple of players back, maybe get Leighton Vander Esch back, Chibuday, Awuzie, some of the corners back, I think it's their division to win. But it's a terrible division. It's awful. They're going to be the 4 seed. And it's going to basically come down to them playing each other, which none of them, I think Washington have beaten the Eagles. That's it. That's the only ones that have played each other yet. So there's going to be a lot more games in this division, and they're all going to decide. And the Cowboys got to get their defense just somewhat, not the worst defense in the history of the NFL, just like to a bad defense. I'd accept a bad defense because if you have that and maybe generate a couple of turnovers a game, you're gonna win a lot of games with that offense.
Yeah, I still think. I mean, I'm with you. I think I had the Cowboys in, and I'm not changing it. The biggest problem is you have to score so many points every week because you're down. I mean, except so much for week 1. But the reason Dak's putting up all these yards is because he has to. If he didn't, they'd be nowhere land. He looked the best. Now, I know you turned it off and didn't watch the second half. I did because there's a Browns fan in my house who was beside herself. And so I did watch it. In that second half, or even more the second part of the third quarter and the last quarter. It was just no huddle, no huddle, no huddle. Now I know the Browns literally advanced stats did not blitz in the fourth quarter, not once. So they were just trying to keep it in front of them, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But the front four were getting no pressure in the entire fourth quarter. They got no pressure at all from the Browns. And surprisingly, they got picked apart. But the only reason he's put all those yards up is because they have to. If they were even close in games, they'd be running it more. But they're forced to be throwing it constantly to catch up because they keep getting into these big deficits. And, twice they haven't got out of it. Now, you have a nice little run coming. You've got 3 division games and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
You got to win your 3 division games. That's just...
I think we're going to win all 4 of them. It's like balls for walls time. Like McCarthy will get fired if he doesn't. He will be one and done. I'm not sold on him at all, but it's hard to argue what he's done to the offense. And I'm really not sold on Mike Nolan.
He's what? He hasn't done anything to the offense. It looks terrible.
McCarthy, the offense is one of the best in the league. That's his offense.
But this is the thing. There's nothing special about it. It's not creative. You just haven't run into a really good. You haven't run into a good defense yet. Look at them.
Well, week 1, Rams defense is all right, and they slowed us down.
They slowed you right down to 17 points. The other three you've played
the ball over.
I mean, and you've got some more terrible ones to come. You watch it every week. It's boring. It's pedestrian. It's not hard to guess what's coming.
No, it relies on talent, and
exactly. So that's not good. So when you come up against a coach. Look at what Belichick did to the Chiefs today. Like, he had to maybe put some brakes on that offense because he did different things. He challenged them in different ways. Like, I feel like a good defensive coordinator would just shut down that offense quite easily.
We'll see. Well, we're gonna find out in the next few weeks, certainly.
No, we're not. Well, you're playing the Giants in Washington.
Washington's defense aren't slouches, though. They're not bad.
They got a couple of bright spots. The rest is not flash.
No. Well, this division is going to play out in the next few weeks, and I just find it hard to back any of these teams. All I know is if I want to watch obviously they're my team, but if I want to watch any team in the playoff, it's the Cowboys, because at least the Cowboys could go into Seattle and knock them off, because they might go into Seattle and put 40 on them. They've got a chance. I know the Eagles aren't beating Seattle because they just Carson Wentz is just dog shit. I don't know why people think he's good still. I can't buy it at all. And I've watched him a lot. I can't buy into him, and I like him. I just can't.
Yeah, when you look at, he doesn't get it done when the chips are down. But if you look at your remaining schedule, I can't even see a team with a winning record on here. Steelers, that's it. Oh, and Ravens, 2.
We've played our hardest for. Well, the Falcons were crap, and we were lucky to get away with a win with that one. But the Rams are a tough. They're a tough out at the moment.
I've got them in. So, but I mean, you've got your you got a bunch of division games still to come.
The key to the NFC East is who's going to win the division. The Eagles could win this division with 7 wins just by beating the Cowboys twice, the Redskins, the Washington football team again, and the Giants twice. They could win the division by doing that. And
then you're non-conference. You got a Vikings game that should be a win. Mm-hmm. You've got a game against Cincinnati. There's another win. You've got a game against 49ers really late in the year that probably won't matter to them. They'll probably be cooked. That's the third last game of the year. You got the Cardinals in 2 weeks, the Steelers and the Ravens. They're the only 3 that matter. You should win. Quite frankly, if they want to be in the playoffs, they should win every other game, maybe lose 1 divisional game. But the rest they should win. Yeah. Like these teams are not good.
No, if the Cowboys can't make the playoffs this year, they've got to blow it up and start all over again, because there's no point continuing with it. There's no point. That's it.
No, he's got to get an imaginary offensive coordinator. Who's the guy at the Bills? Oh, his name always escapes me. McDermott. People didn't really like that. They go, they only got him because he's been in the same room as Shanahan or whichever one of the trendy coaches he was out of. Was it it was the Rams. Sorry, he was out, I think. So they go, they're only trendy because he's got. No, he got it because he's really good. And he's showing that. That offense is great fun to watch.
The Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is the problem. The Cowboys don't have it. They've got a coach who's archaic. I mean, you think Andy Reid's been around just as long, and his offense is amazing to watch.
They know. Do you know that Mike McCarthy has been studying RPOs though while he had his time off.
Do you think you can sneak that joke in every week?
Yeah, that joke. And did you know that CD Lamb can run all the routes?
And I still think he's your best receiver.
Him, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper, trust me, they're fighting each other every week for who I can't make my mind up. They're all exceptional receivers. Exceptional.
Yeah.
Very good. And Ezekiel Elliott's a very, very good running back. I won't hear anything different. He does everything very well.
He's awesome. Who says he isn't?
Oh, plenty of people think he's no good. Mate, I tell you. Don't
get me wrong.
You've done the right thing off Twitter.
Yeah, you know me. I'm off. I wouldn't have paid him what you paid him, but
I wouldn't pay any money. He's a great player.
Yeah.
All right, let's get over to the. So your mulligan, 49ers out. You've got the Rams in. I've got the Vikings out, Seahawks in. Over to the AFC. We have got the AFC North. This one's going pretty much as expected. You've got 3-0 Pittsburgh because they had the bye this week because of COVID. Cleveland at 3-1 and Baltimore at 3-1. Bengals at 1-2-1. We're going to talk Joe Burrows a bit later, so let's leave that there. But I've got all. I had all three in. I had Ravens, Browns, and Steelers in. It's looking good for me right now. You had Steelers and Ravens in. Are you regretting that? You had no Browns though. Considering
get the West in
house, is this going to be the mulligan move you make?
Maybe. Like I had them at 8-8, just missing out. So I still feel good about where I have them. They are so much better coached now than they used to be. It's just night and day because, as I said, I watch a lot of Browns games. It's night and day, the difference. I really think they got the right head coach and the right GM. They've done such a good job in that organization in that way. And they're building the team the right way. The O-line is getting much better, as is the D-line. I don't think they're going to get there. It's just a bit too far. So I feel okay leaving them out. I'm so happy I put the Steelers winning the division. I don't still necessarily know why I did it, but it's just all going right in Pittsburgh.
Because you thought the Ravens would have a little bit of a drop-off, which they have so far. Like they got done by the Chiefs, but they've still been very good.
I had them on the same record. I had them both 11-5. I just put the Steelers first. So I feel good about where I got the North.
You're not mulligan the Browns? Oh, it's a big move. This is big. This is big for your lifestyle.
I don't think I'm.
You're not gonna do it?
I don't think.
I'm messaging Lacey right now.
I'm not. She's working. She'll come around and shoot me.
It's not America, Rich.
That's true. I don't think I'm going to mulligan the AFC.
I'm going to mulligan it. Okay.
I think I think I've got it.
All right. Let's get to the South then. We've got you had the Colts winning, the Titans in. I had the Colts winning and the Titans in as the wild card. Right now we have the Titans at 3-0. Obviously had the bye week as well. Colts at 3-1, who have looked great. They dropped a game to the Jags week 1, which I think
must
they
be kicking themselves over.
Oh, they must be regretting that. They should be 4-0. As we spoke about, Houston, they're in a dumpster fire right now, a dumpster truck fire, as DJ likes to call it. 0-4, coach fired. Can't see that turning around at all. And the Jags at 1-3, but they've really come back to earth the last couple of weeks. I've got my first mulligan, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Titans out.
Ooh. And you're taking an undefeated team out.
And I've got the Patriots in.
Well,
and do you know what? I wanted to get the Patriots in, and the reason I wanted the Titans out is the teams they have beaten to be 3-0 are the Denver Broncos, week 1, which they beat 16-14, had to come from behind to beat the Broncos, who haven't won a game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they beat 33-30, again, having to come from behind to beat them. And the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings by a point.
They've beaten 3 teams with 1 win under their belt. I have to get the Pats back in because I think with Cam Newton, the way they're using him, if they can get him back from COVID, from the Rona, and their defense is playing great, which, again, Bill Belichick, man, far out. We'll get to them later, though. But I think the Titans, I think they're pretending a little bit at the moment. I think they play, as soon as they play someone good, which would have been this week against Pittsburgh, and I reckon they would have got drummed by Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh are good. But it's not. We're going to find out. They've got a bye week, and then they play Buffalo. That's going to be the real decider for me.
Yeah.
Buffalo also have the bye. Then they play the Titans. But then they get Houston, who again like no good, and then Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Chicago, Colts, Baltimore, Colts, Cleveland, Jags, Detroit, Green Bay, Houston. It's not a hard.
That's why I feel good about having them in.
I think they're pretenders. I think the Patriots will catch them.
I think they're pretenders too, but they're going to get in. Here's why. One, they've already got 3 wins. Mm-hmm. So I only got to find them 6 more, and they got a wild card, which is what I had them at. And I'm going to find them for you right now. Here we go. All Texans, right. Cincinnati, Chicago. They're going to split the Colts, beat the Browns. There's 5.
You're actually going to split the Colts?
Yep. They're going to get the Jags back later. There's the 6th. And they might beat the Lions. And they might beat the Titans again. They're in.
Are they? The Titans are going to beat
the Texans again. That's the wrong line.
They certainly will beat themselves, but they'll wait for the playoffs to do that. I don't know. I'm not. I have to pull someone out, and I tell you, I don't want to pull the Chiefs out. I don't want to pull the Colts out. I don't want to pull the Ravens. I don't want to pull the Bills. I don't want to pull the Browns. I don't want to pull the Steelers. At times, but I need the Pats in there. I was wrong. The Pats are good. I need them in there. Let's transition over to the AFC East. You had the Patriots winning the division and Buffalo getting the wild card. Buffalo are 4-0. Their offense looks absolutely outstanding. Defense, not great, but it's not awful, and they get turnovers. The Patriots are 2-2. They had a bad loss today, again, without Cam Newton. With Cam Newton, they have a big chance of winning that game today. Their defense is looking really good still. And when Cam Newton plays, their offense looks fantastic. They had Brian Hoyer play today. So, they've got
Can I say something about that? Mm-hmm. Everyone was talking before they signed Cam Newton. They were like, oh, no, they're cool with not Hoyer. Who's the other one? Stidham. Like, oh, no, they're cool going into the season.
I thought he was hurt today. That's why he didn't play. Why would Hoyer go in?
Because they don't trust Stidham. Simple as that. They were not ready to go into the season with him.
Hoyer. The guy took a sack as the half ran out. All you had to do was not take a sack, and you get 3 points, and he took a sack.
He thought he had a timeout. He thought he had a timeout. He came up from that trying to get a timeout. It's like, hey, dude, you've run out.
But when you're this guy, right, that everyone's like, oh, he's played everywhere. He's so smart. We put him in because we trust him. That's like the one thing you can't stuff up. It kills you. Bad move by the
trusted him. It's they clearly didn't trust Stidham. Or otherwise he would have started.
Stidham came in and he had a touchdown pass on his first pass. He got picked off, which was pulled back from a penalty on his very first pass, which it was a penalty, and then threw a touchdown and then looked dreadful after that. Didn't look close. So he had some good throws. He's certainly better than Hoyer. I don't understand how anyone would think that. But they need to come
in that spot that they didn't trust him. I'll trust him. Check.
Miami are 1-3. New York Jets are 0-4. They're terrible. Like this is like we're gonna fight when do Buffalo play the Patriots? That's what we need to know. That's when we're going to know.
1, 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Okay, I'm backing in the Patriots to make the playoffs. So I think they can. They've got enough together. I think they do.
I had them with 10 wins. I had the Bills with 9. The Bills are obviously already in the driver's seat, probably to win the division. They've got the 4 wins. And when you look ahead, I mean, obviously they get to play the Jets again. They have played, obviously, the 2 worst teams in their division already. Mm-hmm. It was a good win over the Rams. I don't care what anyone says. I think the Rams are a good team. And even though it was at home, it's still a good win.
And Vegas are a good team. Like, Vegas are a sneaky good team. They've been really unlucky.
They're not chumps, and we'll talk about them in a sec as well. They do have Titans, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots. Obviously, you can tick one of those in for a win straight away. But the other 3, we're going to know where they are. If they come out of that with 3 wins, and I almost don't care who the 3 wins are, that'll put them with 7 wins already at the halfway point. And at that point, you're like, cool, you're in. So
they're going to win 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, and look, they do have – they've got a game with the Steelers. But other than that, I mean, some of their
they also get the
49ers.
They get the Jets and the Dolphins again too. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. So their toughest
Chargers.
They got a game against the Seahawks. They got a game against the Chargers. Cardinals, I don't know about how they're tracking in the 49ers as well. They play those games all in a bunch together. They do have obviously the Steelers on the slate later in the year, but by then it's not going to matter.
Buffalo, Tennessee are next week. Tennessee had the bye because of the COVID, so they play this week. I'm excited for that. That's going to be a good game.
Oh, it's going to be a good game. It's
find out what the Titans are. I'm going to find out what the Titans are. Very much.
It's not a great slate next week. That's one of the best games on it.
Yeah. Agreed. Cool. And then AFC West, we both had the Chiefs winning the division. Right now, it doesn't look like it's anyone else's division but the Chiefs. They're 4-0. As it Vegas are 2-2. Broncos 1-3. You were right about the Broncos, Rich. I know they lost their quarterback, which hurt them week 1, but they've looked dreadful in a lot of other places than just quarterback, and they didn't look great week 1 either. So, they put 16 points on the Titans. It wasn't a great game. And then the Chargers are 1-3. I'm glad Herbert's in and Herbert's playing well. There's some hope there for the future, but overall, just the talent level is just not quite there at the moment. But this is Kansas City's division. Can you see the Raiders making a push for playoffs? Do you think they can do enough?
I had them with 6 wins this year. They've got their next 2 games are Chiefs and Buccaneers. And do they host the Bucs?
It almost ended. They beat Carolina. They beat New Orleans, which was a huge win. Then they get drummed by the Patriots. They did push Buffalo like that. You can watch the scoreline and think it was a close-ish game. Like they
played them hard.
They played like Buffalo didn't just roll over them. They played tough. But you're right. They've got Kansas City this week, which is in Kansas City. That's just tough. Then they have to go.
And they host the Bucs.
Tampa at home, which is not an easy game. Then you've got at Cleveland. Again, right now, Cleveland are looking good. I'd call that a 50-50 game at best.
Yeah, definitely.
Then they've got the Chargers, but it's in LA. So it's not a great home field, but it's still a little bit of travel.
It's 3. It's basically then they've got obviously the Chiefs this week and then Bucs and Browns, but then they've got 3 back-to-back conference games. Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs.
And then they've got Falcons who can score. The Jets, they'll beat the Jets. They've got the Colts, Chargers. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't think the Raiders can make the playoffs. I think it's
going to be a big ask, that's for sure.
But I think I can see some good building blocks there. I think next year I'll definitely be on them. If they can make just a couple more tweaks to that team. They're also missing a couple of starting offensive linemen, which was the strength of their team last year. Now they've lost that strength. It's made it hard for them. They can't run the ball quite as well. They can get a couple of those guys back, maybe. But I think it's just going to be the run home is going to be a little bit too tough for them, especially the next 3 weeks. So, you don't have an AFC mulligan. You got none.
No. So I had the Chiefs being the number 1 seed, Steelers 2, Colts 3, Patriots 4, and then the Ravens, Titans, and Bills with the wild card. So I'm cool.
Maybe I should just be super spiteful and push the Browns out instead of the Titans.
Nah, keep my wife on your good side.
It's true. She carries a gun. Yep, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to keep her on the good. Yeah, I'm putting the Titans out. I've been thinking about it all day. Me pulling the Titans out it's a gut move. The math doesn't add up because I know what you're saying. Like the math doesn't add up there, but I just don't feel they're any good. Something's telling me they're not there. I didn't believe it. I only just put them in at the last minute. I had the Pats in and them out at the last minute, and I second guessed myself. So I'm rolling with the Patriots over the Titans certainly. The one I'm worried about is rolling with the Browns over anyone because the Browns they've got such a great success story of being such a great.
They've burned everybody at some point.
I know. All right,
including me with Chubb getting hurt this weekend.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about Chubb in a minute. Let's get into our awards. I'll just quickly run through who we had. Coach of the Year, you had Bruce Arians. I had Cliff Kingsbury. I think both looking okay at this point.
I'll hang in there.
Can I just put one out there for Coach of the Year? If the 49ers make the playoffs, he's not there. If the 49ers make the playoffs, though, it should be Shanahan.
Yeah, great.
If he can make the playoffs with that team, with those injuries, I'd be impressed. Defensive Rookie of the Year, you had Chase Young. I had Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons is not looking good right now. He might be my mulligan. I'm still making up my mind, but you must be feeling all right about Chase Young. He's been hurt, but he's looked good.
I'll roll with it. I'm not going to burn my mulligan there.
No, Offensive Rookie of the Year, you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I have Jerry Jeudy. Again, both right in contention right now. Jerry Judy's got the luxury right now of their number 1 receivers out for the season, which is good for his statistical line.
But no quarterback to throw it to him.
No, but they'll get locked back in a couple of weeks. He could have a big run home.
Yeah, that'll help.
So I'm not worried about those. I think those two are looking okay. They're certainly right in there right now. Comeback player of the year, you have Big Ben, again, right in there. I have Cam Newton. I think they've got to be the hot favourite.
Yes.
Can I just tell you, though, the rumour circulating that they're going to bench Dwayne Haskins. Imagine a Dwayne Haskins benching for Alex Smith. And
if Alex Smith if he puts him in the playoffs, there's your winner.
I think if he played 8 games at an average level, he wins it just purely on narrative.
Not if Roethlisberger wins the division.
And Newton, I think one of those two are making the playoffs for sure.
So at the end of it does come down to success, not just coming back.
Alex Smith could, like, you look at the NFC East. There's a world where Alex Smith comes in and turns it around, and that offense becomes just okay, and they make the playoffs. Defensive player of the year, you've got Aaron Donald. I think you're right on the money there. I have TJ Watt again.
He's playing great. He's playing awesome.
Yeah, right on the money there as well. Offensive player of the year, you had Ezekiel Elliott. I think if they could stop getting down by so much, he'd be right in contention right now. I had Nick Chubb. I'm going to mulligan Nick Chubb. First of all, are you happy with Ezekiel Elliott? Are you going to stay there?
My mulligan's going to be there, or coach of the year.
You're going to take Bruce Arians out?
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Well, can I just give you my mulligan? Do you want mine out?
Yeah, go.
Out. And it's only because of the injury. I'm taking Nick Chubb out. And I'm putting in Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers. I think he has been exceptional this year. Second in the league in rushing. Ton of receiving yards too. I'm struggling to find the stats there, but ton of receiving yards. I think he's going to be an absolute and they're going to use him all year. So the other guy I weighed up was, do you know how good a season Amari Cooper's having statistically right now? I did not. I guess you realize, like, all those yards,
offensive guys are. They've got to go
somewhere. So Cooper's had 400 yards in 4 games. Only the one touchdown, but 400 yards, 37 catches. It's decent return there. Who have you got? Are you sticking with? You're sticking with.
I need you guys to turn around to get my other picks right.
What about MVP? We're both sticking with Mahomes, yeah? I'm not going to. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is the only one, and Russell Wilson, the only two they're going to push it. But I'm backing in Mahomes. I think he's going to roll it out. They might only lose 3 games.
Can I put this to you? Would they put a quarterback as most valuable and another quarterback as offensive player of the year?
I don't think. I think if they did that, they would. Because I mean, when Matt Ryan won MVP, he got offensive player too. He got both. So I think if they gave the MVP to a quarterback, and we're going to. I think they like purposely don't give the offense. They give the offensive player to a non-quarterback now. I don't think you can do. I think the MVP is just a quarterback award now.
Because that's what I would change. I'd give Mahomes both.
Or would you give Mahomes MVP and Russell Wilson offensive player? I don't know. I'm going to bring in. I'm bringing in Aaron Jones, and I feel good about it. Who's your mulligan then, or none?
No, you know what? I'm going to bring McDermott in for Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
I think looking at their schedule, as I said, finding them more wins was so simple. It wasn't even hard.
If they beat the division as well, the narrative will be there. They haven't beaten the Pats for so long. They'll be there.
Yeah. So, yeah, give me McDermott, Coach of the Year.
Beautiful. Well, that's it, mate. That's the mulligans. We're not, like, you look at the prediction. I know it's only week 4, but we're not far off. There's a few that I have to see how they come, but we're not too far off at the moment. So we'll see how it all plays out over the next few weeks. Obviously, a lot more football yet to play. Hopefully, the Rona stays away and we can get a complete season and keep enjoying our footy. I'm confident. I'm not confident in the NFL for much, but I reckon they're doing a few things right at the moment. So I'm happy about that. That'll do us for today, Richie, my good friend Richie. Thank you for being here, mate. Hope you're well in isolation. Hope you're enjoying your Burnley Brewing. I've thoroughly enjoyed mine. So I'm waiting for these. There's a fruity one coming up. I'm waiting to cool down so I can get after that. I've got it in the freezer. So very much looking forward to it. But thank you to Burnley Brewing for all your support. It was great catching up with Chloe today. So thanks for being so nice and giving us all the beer. Really appreciate it. And Breaking Oz Memorabilia, make sure you get onto Facebook, get into their group. There is a link in the description. So just go and click on that and join the group if you want to collect some signed helmets. And
there's a mini break happening today or tomorrow. It's like $9 to be in it.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's so many cool things if you want to do it. And it's a gamble, but it's fun. Like it's it's really exciting being in it too. And I'm just waiting for a helmet to arrive in the mail, and we'll be doing our first break on there. And in that break, there will be an announcement of what's going to be going on further with the Vault and Breaking Oz, and it's a big one. So be ready for that. Thanks to all our sponsors. Make sure you go and give them all a follow and a like. Richie, thank you as always, mate. And to everyone out there, we'll see you next Tuesday. It doesn't sound right without Jules saying it. See you next Tuesday, everyone.